We're talking through something and it very quickly would become an argument because I had to win.
Yeah.
I couldn't lose in an argument. So if you were going to bring something, it was almost like tennis, like you smacking the ball, I've got to smack it back hard.
Okay, but I'm coming in here to just mouth off to you so I can prove I'm right.
That was just one of my prideful spirit ways.
And we would always hit a stalemate. Two stubborn people hitting. It was like bulls butting heads. Those were rough times. Demitri, we've been married 30 years. We are raising 4 children. We've planted churches, done ministries. We've had some hard times. We've survived 30 years of marriage. How has the Beatitudes impacted you as a husband?
Going into marriage, I went in pretty raw and realizing just how much of myself I was bringing into the marriage that shouldn't be there, my attitudes. And when we look at the Beatitudes, if we break it down and we say the Beatitudes, I brought a lot of bad attitudes into the marriage.
I did as well. I really did as well. Viewers, for the record.
That was an area where God soon began to convict me, and I began to realize just how prideful I was. And Karen, you remember those moments on the tennis courts where we would play tennis, and maybe the 1 or 2 times you beat me at tennis.
No, I don't think I ever beat you at tennis.
I think you did once or twice. But that would sting me. And I'm like, no, I can't bear to lose. And that was an attitude that I realized that I had in the marriage. I can't bear to lose. And that was just one of my prideful spirit ways. Whatever I did in life, I had to win. I just didn't like losing.
Yeah.
And import that into our marriage and to realize we arguing or we talking through something and it very quickly would become an argument because I had to win.
Yeah.
I couldn't lose at tennis. I couldn't lose in an argument. So if you were going to bring something, it was almost like tennis, like you smacking the ball, I've got to smack it back hard.
Okay, but then let me add my dilemma from my side in those early years of marriage, and I'm thinking especially where it says, blessed are the peacemakers. I know when I would approach an argument, it wouldn't be to hear your side, it was to prove my point, that I was right. So I knew I never approached a situation going, okay, how can we equally bring peace here? But more like, how can I prove you're wrong? And so for me, this thing of, so if you can imagine, we're trying to resolve a conflict. You want to win and I want to prove you're wrong and I'm right. And we would always hit a stalemate. 2 stubborn people hitting. It was like bulls butting heads. Those were rough times.
I don't know if we're talking to anyone. Maybe you are like us and you're finding, well, we're 2 stubborn individuals trying to make marriage work and struggling at it. Read the Beatitudes.
Yeah.
This is an area where you can really be vulnerable before your husband, before your wife, and say, when you look at these, do you see them in me?
Yeah.
Which areas do I need to focus on?
We were going through a hard time in our marriage and we were getting some input from outside. And the one thing the guy said that was pivotal for me in this thing, he said, don't listen to respond, listen to hear. And so that really started shifting in my own heart, not going, okay, I'm coming in here to just mouth off to you so I can prove I'm right. But what are you actually saying? What are you meaning? And how can we meet each other in truth to bring peace, to be a peacemaker in the situation?
That's very good.
Viewers, for the record, we don't approach conflict and fights that way. You're asking with regards to tennis. Well, to be honest, we don't play it anymore. But that's mainly because I've got shoulder issues from injury. So
time's coming, babe.